Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time to finish off the Oscar predictions this month with tech categories. We're going to TIFF real soon, and Venice and Telluride are starting at the end of the month. Very exciting time for us and you.
I actually have never been more excited for a film festival than TIFF this year because the lineup is so stacked. I can barely function at my job. I'm so pumped. Just a reminder, we're cranking out videos on the membership section. It's $2 a month. If you want to support the channel and you want to see some more content, you can check it out. We're having a lot of fun with it. And also, just want to make sure everyone's aware that, the best place to make your Oscar predictions is perhaps the app that I developed myself, Award Expert, which I'm continually trying to make better. More you can come along, more you can keep track of your Oscar predictions here. It's totally free, may I add.
Let's start with cinematography. I think Dune is fine to have at number one, but we can be skeptical about stuff.
I just feel like that little zone of interest, Oppenheimer battle, final showdown for sound last year is indicative of something that could happen in a few categories for Dune.
Well, cinematography is usually a category where a big budget film or even a visual effects geared film can win. It's often not a category where the little indie wins.
The first one already won in these categories. I don't know how fun it is to give the sequel the same award.
Well, I think that if you're looking for competition for win, Blitz is a big film. That's going to be a big scale movie. Joker is going to be a big movie, and we've already seen that's really colorful. If that was in Best Picture, I could think it maybe happen.
I think the second one's going to have better cinematography, it's going to be even more showy. But again, Joker is something where if I take it out of picture, it kind of sinks everywhere for me.
It probably
And my
does,
current prediction, I'm just going to stick with it until the film premieres, is that it's going to miss picture. And I don't have an amazing reason for it. Obviously, I don't have any more reason than you do. None of us have seen it. I just feel more confident in other films.
And sometimes it do be that way, and sometimes it do happen that way. I think that The Brutalist, we really have to just have that in there at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, The Brutalist is going to get a cinematography nomination.
70 millimeter IMAX.
Have you seen some of the
Goodness.
images on this thing? I mean, it already looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's 70 mils.
I think, unless this is really just divisive to the core and the Oscars are allergic to it, I think this would get cinematography.
Also, Lowell Crawley has never been nominated, and he's quite accomplished. White Noise, The Humans, 45 Years, Four Lions. Quite interesting. I also have in the Nickel Boys. What have we learned about Nickel Boys? We've had a couple reactions, and they've said that the style is so noteworthy, that the film is a vision.
Yeah, some Letterboxd reviews have noted that the film does montage very well, and it speaks in a very cinematic language. They've singled out the cinematography and the editing. Jomo Frey, who did All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt, might be an up-and-coming kind of auteur cinematographer, perhaps. So these crafts in Nickel Boys might stand out just enough to get nominations alongside a Best Picture nomination. Speaking of the reactions, they're pretty strong in general, aren't they? I mean, there's only been a couple, like we said, but they're both, I think, 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 out of 5.
Queer we had last time. Now, I don't know if I'm feeling great about Queer. I just feel like a lot of our prediction to it is riding off of the hope that finally Guadagnino and director and all this stuff.
Especially after Challengers, how could they ignore this one? It just feels like Challengers is building momentum for Queer, but that doesn't mean that Queer is going to be the film that Oscar voters are looking for. The fact that they trimmed it down from 3+ hours to 2 hours and 20 minutes, it almost makes it a fact that a lot of the film in its longer state was kind of meandering, maybe more about tone and character building.
Yeah, and now
it was about driving plot forward.
Oh, and now it's about that, which is good.
Cutting it down was absolutely an effort to appeal more to the general audience, but it does signal to me that the film is pretty out there. And it might be something that critics embrace more than general audiences. It might leave some people confused, and it might leave some people saying wow, that's a masterpiece.
It'll probably be like that, but I think Guadagnino has developed such a reputation with the film-going public that they may be willing to give him a chance on a riskier film. Although,
but what if it's really not satisfying?
That did not work for Paul Thomas Anderson with The Master, And it does sound like the film is just about Daniel Craig wandering the streets with Drew Starkey, and then they wander into the jungle and do drugs. That's what the plot of the movie sounds like. So It does seem a little bit riskier. I may have to go with Maria. That could be one.
That's a good bet.
Now, this is like a very a branch pick. This is like, oh, the branch likes Ed Lockman. They nominated him for El Conde. To be fair, yeah, it was in black and white. But it was also Pablo Larraín. Maria is also, a lot of it is in black and white. All the
not the
flashbacks are
majority of
black and
it, but yes, the flashbacks.
Yes. I mean, a lot of films last year were like this. Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Maestro.
Maria's going to be a sumptuous-looking film, and I fully expect that when it premieres, it will get put in a lot of people's cinematography predictions. Now, the problem here is, it could be like Spencer, where because that wasn't in Best Picture, because some people were kind of put off by the film, it ended up getting no tech nominations when it really would have deserved like cinematography, production design, costume, score.
But Spencer and Jackie, those cinematographers weren't previous nominees.
I'm actually tempted to go with Amelia Perez.
You really think so, though?
I'm tempted.
Because I think that the trailer made me think, oh, that could happen.
Oh, it's
but
a good-looking movie.
It didn't make me sure.
I think we've all seen the trailer at this point, and we can, and you know, the naysayers among us may have to admit, they may have to concede, you know, the film is a force to be reckoned with. It's going to grab some people, you know, and not let go. And it has a lot of potential with techs, actors, you know, director. I'm kind of wondering, is Amelia Perez perhaps the kind of movie that gets 10 plus nominations on Oscar morning? And I'm serious about it too. I'm actually serious about that. It has a high ceiling.
I don't know that cinematography is the most likely for it.
Isn't it a better bet at this point to go with the thing that people have seen? What if Maria is the worst of the trilogy? What if it's his Maxine?
What the hell? I'm just saying, like, it's not that bad of a pick to do a branch fave. Joker's pretty close, because even if Joker didn't get Best Picture, like, it still looks really good. It's very colorful, and the musical elements are
I just wonder if it hurts that it kind of looks like the same as the first film.
Do you think Anora's possible?
I would love to see it, but unfortunately, I don't think it's Celine will go for.
Yeah, I mean, those are all the ones I'm considering really seriously. Conclave a little bit, but I think that Conclave maybe doesn't seem like it goes the extra step that maybe, you know...
Conclave is a very handsomely made movie, and I am impressed by the cinematography in the trailer, but I could see them leaving it out, perhaps.
Yeah. A Complete Unknown, I think that's kind of meh. Nosferatu, I don't really think so. I just don't. Girl with the Needle, I mean, maybe there's your black and white surprise pick.
Girl with the Needle could be a real surprise.
I'm going to go ahead and
it gets nominated out of nowhere. I can think of two films off the top of my head. The only nomination was cinematography, and they were international films. Bardo and El Conde. So,
there's more.
And then there's more.
I think Gladiator 2 is also a possibility.
Should we consider Gladiator 2 more heavily? I mean, if that was in Best Picture, would you put it in?
I don't know.
The Martian probably got cinematography.
It did not.
Maybe The End has some really good cinematography, honestly, since it's a golden age musical. I would leave that towards the bottom. Yeah, I'd leave that towards the bottom of my predictions.
I have it at the bottom.
Saturday Night, is that maybe cinematography? Probably not. I'd love to see Challengers get attention, but it probably won't.
Editing. Dune 2. I think this will probably not happen.
You know, there's a theme here, which is we're going to have to see which films we don't want to have Dune winning.
The sound editing combo has been breaking the past 2 years. Last year, the sound winner didn't get nominated for editing, and the year before that, the editing winner didn't get nominated for sound. It's breaking. It's crumbling.
I mean, why don't we approach this from what could maybe win? Like, let's just talk about films that have win potential.
Dune could definitely, absolutely win.
Yeah,
there's a lot to say about it.
Pretty nuts. You know. Like, I think it's a worthy frontrunner. When I think of Dune, I think of Sandworm scene, and then what was good in the Sandworm scene? The editing, cinematography, like the sound, the score. So those are all Oscars I think it could win.
Then you have Conclave, which I think that could win. It's very much a chicken clock kind of movie.
I don't know if I see a win for Conclave. That seems a little.
Like, what about like an Argo way?
Argo won Best Picture. And I don't really see a win.
Yeah, well,
I can see it being a strong contender.
You'd have to see some really strong montages in it. Honestly, those are the only two I think that immediately stand out to me as something that could win. Are you going to say Amelia Perez?
What if Amelia Perez for win?
For winning editing? Why? You tell me why.
It's got musicals. It's got the gun car chase stuff going on.
Is the editing good? Did it stand out to you?
Yeah, I think the editing stands out. It'd be kind of weird if it won.
It would be. I think it would also be weird if it won. I don't know if I'm going to predict that yet.
But I wonder if it's like an Elvis, where I think that was like, man, that got pretty close, kind of close to winning.
Elvis was crazy. I don't see why it would win unless it was winning Best Picture again. I think that if you're going to look at editing apart from Best Picture, Dune 2 is the best case for winning editing still. I think it just does. So Nickel Boys, we both now agree that that's getting editing. People were saying it has some of the most interesting use of editing and montage that you're going to see this year. If Nickel Boys is a picture, editing is a nomination it will get.
You know, not many films are that experimental with editing, so...
And what
I think it's going to be refreshing. The branch would embrace something like that.
What if that wins just because in a zone of interest winning sound type of way, where it's just the most interesting and the most prominent?
That I guess that would be like a zone of interest winning sound win.
I think it's fair to have Blitz in because that will just be, you know, one of the bigger tech contenders that we have.
It's
here.
also a sound contender.
Now Sing Sing has lots of montages as well. If it really is a top 3 contender as we think it is, then you should predict it for editing, right? Don't you think?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. How would Sing Sing not get editing if it was a Best Picture frontrunner? That just would happen, wouldn't it?
I mean, it usually does happen.
And we do think that Sing Sing is going to be one of the top contenders still.
Yeah,
I know
one
that
of the top, but maybe
I
not
know
the
that there's
top.
skepticism, but I want to remind people of a couple things. First of all, we always freak out when we're like, this movie's not in wide enough release, people aren't talking about it. It happened with The Father and The Zone of Interest when they came out way too late. Coda was nowhere to be seen when it came out in August.
It's hard to reference the pandemic films, though.
As long as Oscar voters see it and it's put in front of them, that's a new life that the film will have. And that's true about every Best Picture nominee. It was true about Everything Everywhere and the screenings that it did at the end of the year. Even though, it had a lot of buzz in the beginning of the year, too. Most Oscar voters probably watch their damn screeners and go to screenings to see most of the nominees anyway. As long as they bring it back, I'm not that worried about Sing Sing, like, missing a Best Picture nomination or being really weak in Best Picture.
But if it's weaker in Best Picture because there's just less buzz on it, there's less box office, then why wouldn't it could definitely miss editing. Like,
I agree.
From the perspective that Sing Sing is winning Best Picture, I'll agree that you'd want it to be in Best Editing. You really would want it to be in Best Editing. I can't say I'm like more than 50% convinced about that right now.
Because I also want other things in here, you know? I do think that Emilia Perez is very possible for editing.
Yeah.
As a musical and as something that like kind of bends genres and also has thriller moments, crime thriller moments.
It's a high energy film.
And if it's a top 5 contender, that definitely could get editing.
If it is 10 nominations, you're not getting 10 nominations without editing. It just doesn't happen.
What if Blitz has too many long takes? Because McQueen
I don't
likes
think it
that.
would be all long takes.
It won't be all long takes.
If Blitz is
McQueen
Nightmare
likes that.
Alley, then maybe it wouldn't.
Another film that I want to put in, but that could also suffer from the same thing if having too many long takes is Saturday Night. It's said that you can
I don't
kind of
think
tell
that
the
film's
trailer.
going to be solely comprised of long takes.
No,
I think it's going to borrow.
I didn't say
borrow from that
solely.
Birdman style.
I didn't say solely. Saturday
sorry.
Night's also a thriller, so it's a ticking clock thriller like Conclave, but it also has a real time element to it that I think could really actually help in this category.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Saturday Night is very compelling here. Again, if it doesn't get Best Picture, then it won't be in, and it's kind of low on my Best Picture list.
Yeah,
it's low.
so we do have Saturday Night in for Best Picture right now because we're anticipating that it'll blow up quite a lot.
Like if we're going to be consistent, Saturday Night should be in here if it's in Best Picture. However, it is impossible for me to be consistent here. It's impossible because I can't have Sing Sing at number 1 or 2 without editing, and I might not put it in for editing. I have a hard time leaving The Brutalist out as well.
The Brutalist does not need editing, bitch.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. Why does it need editing? It's a 3-hour film, and it's not Thelma Schumacher.
Okay, yeah, but even after Tar got nominated for editing?
That's one film. If Tar was up against...
It kind of feels like an Anatomy of a Fall or a Tar.
Maybe, but also maybe not. I don't know what to say to you. I mean...
Or There Will Be Blood is certainly an editing movie. I mean, the filmmaking in The Brutalist might be kind of off the charts. Might be like really strong filmmaking across all cylinders.
I would say you have to wait until you find out if The Brutalist is top 5 or not.
Sing Sing? Do you want to put Sing Sing in, though? I watched it again, and I was like, I thought the editing was really strong.
I don't know about Saturday Night, because Saturday Night might be like a number 9 or 10. I don't think it's going to be that high in Best Picture.
But if it wins, okay, you're predicting that it wins People's Choice.
I'm not going to go off that yet.
I'll go like a 50-50 that it wins People's Choice.
Maybe.
In the scenario it wins People's Choice, I'll get editing. Because it'll be locked for Best Picture.
We thought that American Fiction was going to get editing at some point, and it didn't. If Blitz is number 6 or 7 for Best Picture, but Sing Sing is in the top 5, then what gets edited?
Yeah.
Sing Sing.
It still might not be Sing Sing.
It probably would be. If you're a top 3, you get editing.
The thing about Sing Sing is it feels so small. Like, you can see that it had a shoestring budget, and people aren't going to think about it as like a tech giant.
And what about Honora? Because that could also surprise, I think. If that's really, really strong, it could just get
Honora could get editing if it's really strong at the end of the day.
Wait, I'm surprised.
It would be over-nominated, though, if it got that.
The community thinks it's number 3, which I'm surprised about. Now, the problem with Honora in editing is I don't necessarily think it is an advantage to Sean Baker that he is his own editor. In terms of the eyes of the editing branch.
I don't think Honora is the strongest for editing.
And some people might find it to be a
Maybe
bit
they're
long,
thinking about it because there's Uncut Gems comparisons. It doesn't cut as often as Uncut Gems, but there is a lot of layering of sound in a very similar way to Uncut Gems when a lot of people are speaking. But I actually thought that the editing was, that the movie maybe could have benefited from not being as drawn out as it was. And so I don't know if the editing feels like it's the strongest part. I felt like it made sense that Sean Baker edited his own movie, because I felt like if another editor had it, it would have maybe been shorter. I feel like it's an over-nomination that I wouldn't predict right now.
If it was going to win Best Picture, though, it would probably just get it.
Yeah. But that's like Sing Sing. It's the same thing with Sing Sing.
A complete unknown. I almost have that in for a sec, but I'm trying to back off on it and picture a little bit, because I'm like, okay, if we're being honest, Searchlight can push this as hard as they want, but if the movie's like 77% Rotten Tomatoes, it's not going to happen. That's all I'm saying. Joker... we'll see. It would have to be really big. It has to be really big. I don't think that's going to happen. Queer and Challengers. I mean, Challengers deserves an editing nomination a lot. As long as it's not in picture, it is not getting editing. That's what I think. Maybe Critics' Choice can throw it in there and have a little fun with it, but that's the best it's going to get, I think.
Yeah, weirdly, I feel like Joker doesn't fit here. It just doesn't.
It doesn't fit. Even if it was in Best Picture, it wouldn't get editing.
Gladiator 2, that actually should be taken seriously.
I guess.
I'd put that maybe at number 10.
Production design. I'm going to make an argument to you here.
You're going to try to put Dune, you're going to dethrone Dune.
For Gladiator 2.
All right.
Now, it's kind of weird because, Dune's very goddamn strong in this category. Like, holy shit, the sets were massive.
And the first one.
But Gladiator 2 looks like a huge spectacle.
Yeah.
Like that scene where the Coliseum, and I know it's a lot of visual effects, but still, so is Dune. The Coliseum.
But people might see Dune as being a better crafted film overall.
I think that I'll keep Dune at number 1, but I do think that Gladiator 2 may threaten to win a tech or two. Also, if there's just one set piece that takes people over the edge, like the Coliseum, I mean, to be fair, Dune had a triangle Coliseum. So how do you beat that? Triangles over circles any day. I'll keep Dune at number 1, but I do think Gladiator 2 is maybe more than locked in. Really, really in there.
Anything else that could win production design here, you think?
A big budget helps a lot to win a category like this. And yes, not everything has that. You're insane for having Wicked, and I'm going to put you on that.
Oh, I actually don't think so.
Oh, you're insane for thinking. Oh, my goodness.
It's a standout. It's a standout.
Oh, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, remember I proved to you that Beauty and the Beast got nominated for production design and costumes.
Back then, before we had the fatigue about the Disney remakes.
They're not. This isn't Disney.
Did Mulan get nominated?
That's Disney.
It counts to me. This is as Disney as you can get without being officially Disney.
I'm sorry, but when you look at the trailer for Wicked, there's clearly
it's loaded with
CGI. They're creating the land of Oz. They're recreating the land of Oz. Watch the trailer again. I think we need to watch the trailer again. We need to review it.
When I saw the first images of the set of Wicked, I said, holy shit, that's going to get production design.
Yeah,
but then I saw the trailer and I said, man, they are just tainting their own sets by adding all this unnecessary CG.
Wait, how...
fake and plastic in a lot of spots.
But the set existed.
It looks like
it has a lot of practical sets.
Hey, turn that down. No one needs to hear that shit.
Look at that shit.
That's all fake.
That's poor things.
It's fake.
Look, that's a set. Musical number.
Yeah,
musical numbers. Musical.
All right, well, Joker's a musical too.
Look at that. That's a set.
Oh, that is a set.
That was a set. That outdoor fucking area where everybody's trouncing around.
That was a pretty big set.
That's a pretty big set.
All right, keep going.
Hold up.
The door's pretty nice.
Yeah, look at the arches in every fucking door. The library is crazy.
The library's a little fake.
Oh, it's pretty crazy though. Again, town square.
It looks alright, actually. Like, if we're being honest, it doesn't look like as dazzling as the original Wizard of Oz.
Even CG, even that's production design. Remember?
I understand. I know that it counts. I'm just saying that if you're not in Best Picture, they might not be as generous. A lot of it just says to me that it's a costumes and not production design film.
The train's crazy.
Train's fake.
All the Land of Oz stuff's gonna be wild.
That's the set. That's the real. That's set.
Amazing.
That's the most amazing.
That's
set.
Incredible.
As it turns out, I have it at number 6. So
we already talked about Wicked. Let's just talk about other stuff and see if we want to put it in at the end.
All right. You have Blitzen, right?
I have Blitzen, but
don't even be hesitant.
Are we like don't even super confident about that?
Oh yes. I mean, you can even see in some of the early images, like he's in like the train tunnels and stuff, and the city's getting destroyed and they have to run around old London. They had to recreate old London, man. It's going to be like massive. It's actually one of the bigger budget Oscar contenders of the year.
One of the very few pieces of info we have about Blitz, there was this person who went on the set and they like started filming, this townhouse that they made look like it got fucking shelled. They need to do that for like any war film.
And war films are this category's best friend. I got two more for you that are very competitive. The Brutalist. We don't have that much evidence here, but man, there's a couple images that are quite big feeling, I would say. It takes place
it's also the
in the 40s.
It's also the production designer of American Hustle and Carol.
World
it's also
War II.
about an architect, which could help the movie if it's trying to incorporate that brutalism architecture into.
You know what? Maybe this
production
isn't
design.
as convincing to me as other things.
Yeah.
Joker, Folie à Deux. This is a category where I'm tempted to keep it.
Right.
In. It has those musical numbers where they're dancing on the roofs and the set becomes like a musical set. It's got some big set pieces. All right.
Yeah. Like, is Joker really going to get no nominations?
No,
Like,
I don't know. It's not going to get no nominations.
Yeah.
It'll probably get like 3. But production design being one, especially,
That would be one of them, if it got
especially
3.
like if it didn't get costumes or something, it's a little bit rare. That's definitely possible, and I think I'm considering that. Also, do you remember how The Color Purple did not get production design or costumes? Even though that was like they could have done that. Is that not like a Wicked or something where it's a musical that's like, well, you can
like
see how
that.
they could do it, but then they just don't because it's not in Best Picture.
It's kind of like that, but Wicked looks more colorful and big budget.
Like Wakanda Forever, for example, did not get production design. I didn't predict it to get production design. I actually never did. I said this is one of the top costumes contenders, but it's not getting production design. And I will hold to it. That's
All right.
exactly what it is.
All
Wakanda
right.
Forever and Wicked are the same thing to me. I would have Joker in over it.
All right.
And I don't even know how convinced I am about that, but
I mean, what else is here? Conclave. Conclave is a contender. I would
that's
say.
to me, actually. I
You
don't
think
even.
so?
I don't know why you think that's that strong.
Okay, all right. They're recreating the interiors of the Vatican.
Yeah,
They're probably
but
not shooting
it's
in the Vatican.
contemporary too. How hot are we on Nosferatu? A lot of people think that's happening. I don't really think so. I mean, it looks kind of dazzling, but Beetlejuice. The more I watch the trailers, the more I'm like a fan of this film's visual aesthetic. The first didn't get that nomination.
I
We'll
would
see.
say this is probably not that likely.
What about Amelia Perez? Is that possible? I mean, that's a contemporary film, though. But it's a musical.
Yeah, I don't think that's very possible. Queer apparently has some surrealism in the production design. Who knows?
Well, maybe. Kind of implied.
And I think Maria also might have some surrealism in the production design. Furiosa's
done.
I think it's done. I think that's not going to get production design.
I just feel like, man, there's no buzz on that film. It's going to get like 1 nomination, maybe.
We got Joker. We got Brutalist is your number 5, I guess.
I'll put Joker
and then
and
Wicked
Brutalist.
number 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I also want to say that this may be the most likely nomination for Here.
I agree that it's the most likely nomination for Here.
I think Saturday Night is an outside shot for recreating
point.
those Saturday Night Live sets and all that. Costumes. Now here, the Wicked stands can have something right now. I do have Wicked winning this category.
Winning.
Yes, winning.
Yeah,
That's
the
right, I
trailer
said
and the
it.
costumes look fantastic.
It is like Cruella, maybe, and many other films where it doesn't even have to
Yeah.
be in Best Picture.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever beat some serious Best Picture contenders
Yep.
as well.
The costumes look very fun, very colorful,
Very extravagant,
yeah.
very creative.
So I'm inclined to agree.
Like, is that the most costumes? And I think it kind of is. Now, another film that could be most costumes, Gladiator 2. The first film won. This one has a lot of men in armor, but Denzel Washington's costumes in particular, I would want to point out, he's got some very glamorous robes on. And I think that is also a contender to win the category. This is also a category where I just think it's easier to move Dune down and say Dune's not going to win it.
I was more impressed with the costumes on Dune this time around, and I think a lot of people felt that way, and they were like, guys, this is another Oscar Dune could win this time around. I agree that it would be worthy of a win. But I think the competition just seems like it would be more likely that it would be stamped out by some competition. Like, it's not its strongest category.
I think that they're not as colorful, though, as Wicked. Wicked is just too colorful.
Unexpectedly in costumes, I think Conclave could be a player here. It's weird because it's a contemporary film, but based on the trailer, they do stand out.
Could they be a little samey? All the men are wearing the same thing, and maybe there's only like 5 costumes total that each man wears. Now I'm gonna watch the trailer for Joker again because I need to think about this. The first one did get nominated, and it was kind of because they were just jizzing on it everywhere.
Yeah, and it was Mark Bridges, so they were like, let's just put that in there too.
I mean, Gaga's Joker costume with her red blazer, like, that's pretty cool. What about Maria? Jackie got costumes.
It's a period piece.
It's from the 70s. So Spencer was from the 90s, right? That
It'll
wasn't
probably
as
have like
old.
sumptuous period detail.
Yeah. He's a 2-time Oscar nominee for Pinocchio and Cyrano. Wow. And those films barely got any nominations.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually kind of fair. I have a feeling that Blitz could be like many World War II films and get production design but not costumes. Oppenheimer was a exception, but it also won Best Picture. Even All Quiet on the Western Front didn't get it. Bridge of Spies didn't get it. Furiosa, I also think it's just not going to happen, even though, man, that would be so deserved. Because that was actually like one of the standout aspects of the film.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. I mean, nothing else is really standing out.
So what's number 5? Maybe it is Blitz. You've
Conclave.
Are you sure about Conclave? I'm not sure
Yes.
about Conclave.
Yes, the costumes stand out.
Okay, for makeup, this is also a category where I'm not putting Dune at number 1. I mean, it also didn't win the first time.
This is a fun category because we get to include some films that aren't nominated in all the other categories.
We have 2 films that I think are more heavy on the makeup than Dune possibly. One is Beetlejuice. The first won Best Makeup, and this one looks like it is doing the same thing. And pretty much every character has their own kind of like weird makeup thing going on in Beetlejuice. So I think it's very possible that this wins. Maybe it's a little too much of a repeat of the first, though, don't you think?
I think it's actually totally reasonable to have Beetlejuice at number 1. I think that looks like a fun little freak show. Now, speaking of freak show, here's a film that I think, if it's nominated, it could maybe win. What am I talking about here?
I'm talking about The Substance.
Yep, talking about The Substance.
I actually do think this will be nominated because I'm expecting the film to make quite a splash. I think a lot of people are anticipating it. I think it'll be a decent hit at the box office. Does that mean it's the Oscar voters' cup of tea? Not exactly. But it actually might remain kind of in the conversation. Maybe some critics groups will go for it in actress and director.
I think this should get nominated for director, editing, sound. Like, I would love to see these nominations. I think it's going to get a makeup nomination. It feels too optimistic to say so because they don't really do, like, horror movies. They don't really do body horror. Like, you're not going to see Alien Romulus in the predictions. You're not going to see The First Omen in the predictions. But The Substance is different. Like, this level of prosthetics and practical effects, this has not been seen in a long time, and I think we might be talking about this in the same breath as The Fly, which was only nominated for 1 Oscar, and then it won, and that was Best Makeup.
It could win makeup. It could just be...
It could actually be the film that wins.
The most.
It may very well have the most in the category.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the thing you're left just screaming about when you leave the film. You won't even see a lot of it in the trailer right now, which is very tastefully done. I think it's gonna get nominated because The Substance just feels like it just has the hype, it has the buzz.
Why don't you put it at number 1?
Maybe I will.
Why don't you go the extra
Maybe I
mile?
fucking will. The problem is, again, horror films getting nominated for Oscars, you're either vampire or you're a werewolf.
that's
Or
not
you're
what
The
this
Fly.
is.
It's literally, that's it.
I don't think that it feels like it is only for people who like horror films, and it's very relevant to like Hollywood. It's very much in the world of the Oscar voter too.
I think it's going to be appreciated by enough people.
Fuck it. I'll put it at number 1.
Oh, wow.
If it's getting nominated and it has the most makeup, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Here's the other
It's kind of
thing.
like Godzilla -1 in visual effects, and I know that's a weird comparison, but it's like, if it's there, then it could just win. That didn't even get nominated.
Well,
and it's like a consolation prize for the film overall.
You gotta go off what's the most, man.
The point of having branch categories is to do stuff like this. It's the point. So if The Substance isn't nominated for makeup, it's a big fucking failure.
It's gonna be hell to raise.
It's like a systemic failure if it's not nominated for makeup.
They shortlist this stuff too. I mean, Beau is Afraid and the Demeter movie got
It's gonna get shortlisted.
If it gets shortlisted, it's getting nominated.
If it doesn't get shortlisted, we have to like figure out how to amend it.
I mean, Crimes of the Future got shortlisted. Like,
yeah,
and it makes sense that maybe that didn't have just enough, but. Man, this movie, what you're saying is true. It goes
and also
the extra mile and then another mile and then another 10 miles, right?
Yeah. Yes. I actually like that. I'm convinced it's going to win.
And
now.
it's like, wow, that's all practical. That's amazing. Godzilla -1's fair because the virality of that film, I think, helped at the end of the day. And RRR.
Yeah.
For not to winning.
I fully expect The Substance to be a viral film.
Yes. And people will be not shutting up about how it should win makeup.
If you are going to TIFF, please do yourself a favor and see the midnight screening. That is all I have to say to you.
I think Joker's fair to say for makeup as well. right?
Yeah.
A Different Man. I'm kind of feeling good about it.
Yeah.
It's got a fall release. It has mega prosthetics.
Really only in the first half. It's kind of one thing for the first half of the movie and then it's gone.
That's fine though, because Tilda Swinton for the Grand Budapest Hotel. Can I say
That's
that?
different though.
That was one character. That was maybe in the movie 10 minutes or less. And that alone won that film the Oscar.
I don't know. I'm a little iffy on it. I don't think it's a lock. Dune Part 2 is a lock, right? Dune Part 2 is a lock.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to win. We don't really need to say too much about it.
I mean, it could win.
If I'm hesitant about A Different Man, or maybe I'm hesitant about Joker, Furiosa is currently number 5, which means it's on its way out.
Furiosa had some very good makeup. There was a guy who was missing an eye, like there's some fucked up looking people. Chris Hemsworth had a fake nose, like the hair, the beard, the dirt, and the scratches.
For sure, there's a ton of makeup in Furiosa that makes sense, and yet I think it won't get nominated because Furiosa didn't do well at the box office. It's like it'll feel like it didn't even fucking happen when the nominations come out. I'm so sorry to people
but I want to tell you this though: that makeup is a category where it's a little more forgiving if nobody knows what the hell you are. And this is true.
Yeah.
Last year Golda was nominated.
Yeah, but again, that's like you transform Helen Mirren, you get nominated for makeup.
Well, Chris Hemsworth. I mean, it's mostly the nose for him.
Yeah, it's nothing as extreme as Golda.
Sasquatch Sunset.
That's the interesting
I
one.
actually still think that this is a real shot, and I would not dismiss it.
I mean,
just
think
because
about Golda. Like, we dismissed Golda for the whole year. I don't even... Did we even have it getting nominated? We did have it getting nominated.
No, we predicted it at the end of the day.
After it got shortlisted. That is also Bleecker Street. Random-ass movie. No one fucking saw it. No one heard about it.
And a lot of people didn't like it.
And yet, you show up on the shortlist, and you're as good of a shot as anybody's got.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see us ending up on the shortlist. What is this? It's full fucking body prosthetics transformation. They turn 4 actors into apes.
The makeup work is remarkable as well. It's remarkable how the actors are able to emote through it, and how the movement in the faces is just so realistic. I mean, in another world, like, I would not mind this movie winning makeup because just the work is very impressive.
I mean, this is the kind of film where the actors spend half the day in a makeup chair. It's definitely more than A Different Man.
But A Different Man will be a bigger player overall.
There's enough that you could justify it.
Yeah, you could put it in if you wanted to. Where's
put it in.
This is number 14 with the Community.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a little higher than that, but you're sure. I think Sasquatch Sunset can be number 6. Is that fair?
I'm tempted to put it in just to be right about something. I think next on the list, you come across a few contenders. You got Amelia Perez. I'll tell you where the makeup is here. It's because Amelia Perez... She was a cartel leader who was male presenting, and she looks totally different in this makeup when she was living life as a man. And that makeup is very impressive. Like, it's actually like quite stunning when you see the before and after in the film.
Why isn't that
I don't think there's
enough?
much more.
Why isn't it enough?
It could be enough if they want to over-nominate the movie. That's the thing. It might not even get shortlisted. You know, I wouldn't get ahead of ourselves about that.
I don't think Maria looks that insane.
No.
Or anything. I don't think they're gonna do that. Actually,
I don't think so. Night Bitch is what I'm looking out for because
I had a
she
dream.
transforms into a fucking dog.
I had a dream that it was a lot of makeup.
It's not gonna be trying to be super convincing though. Something about Night Bitch feels like it might be a little campy and not going for a real.
But we don't even know what kind of transformation it is. Like, what if she just is a dog all of a sudden?
No, but someone said she like grows hair and she gets a tail. But even if she grew a tail, I wouldn't think, oh my god, it's such transformative makeup. Unless they're doing something to her face where she's half a dog and she has a snout.
I mean, she might have
I would
whiskers.
need to see a snout.
Nosferatu, to be fair, has not revealed the makeup, but I don't know.
I would say that's a possibility.
I mean, it didn't get nominated either.
Again, horror movies don't really get it.
The Apprentice, if it comes out this year, I actually think that's fairly high.
Yeah, if it comes out, it's high. It's not fucking coming out.
Yeah,
it's just not.
You're right.
Gladiator 2, I don't think so. There's just no prosthetics, and that's what I go off of. Wicked, I think it's too high. It's like number 7.
Not enough prosthetics.
Yeah, I mean, she's painted green. Okay, cool.
And how about this horror movie? Long Legs.
Long Legs? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It's like too goofy.
Yeah.
Visual effects. Dune Part 2 winning. I don't think it's going to see a strong challenge. Actually, Gladiator 2 might challenge it.
No.
But
no, it won't.
Probably not.
For the win?
Nah, you're right.
No.
Okay.
Apes is 2. Apes is 2.
2?
Ha! Yes, absolutely. Oh my god, yes.
I don't think it stepped up the game from the last films, though.
Oh, people argue that it did. It's like 100% CGI. The movie is...
All of it's always been that.
You realize all the Apes movies have been the runner-up, right?
Yeah,
and they
but this
win
one's
VES.
the least
they
big
all
deal.
won VES.
This one's the least big deal by far. It's the least big deal by far.
Well, some people say that the visual effects are the best they've been.
Yeah, I don't even believe them. I just don't. I watched the trailer and I was like, I don't think so.
It's getting nominated. Gladiator 2 is getting nominated.
Right.
We're all fine.
Mufasa's getting nominated.
Now, some don't think so, though. I think they may say, oh, we're tired of that shit. We don't like this anymore. And so I've seen some people argue that because the characters aren't as realistic and they have more cartoon faces this time around. I think that's so barely a change, though. Like, and it actually might be. It actually might even be it could even be a selling point.
I think it's a positive because if people are sick of the fucking realism where the animals don't emote, like at least they're addressing it slightly in like the most bare minimum way.
Also, we got to be honest about it too. They always like Disney shit. They like their big blockbusters. That's just what they go for. And the first one got it without a problem. Some of the close-ups on these animals look real good. Yeah. You know, the fact that the entire movie is 100% CGI. You know,
I don't know how this wouldn't.
It may not look flawless.
It would be like it would literally be a protest vote to be like, no, we're not nominating Mufasa because objectively, I think it looks like it's just amazing that they can create this. But subjectively, you're like, all right, but I don't like it.
Yeah, but what if the movie gets like a 40 on Rotten Tomatoes? Then you'd kind of have to reconsider, right?
I don't think it's going to get a 40 on Rotten Tomatoes.
You think it's going to get a fresh, though?
I feel like these Disney movies play it safe, so they don't really get that low of ratings.
Number 5 is really tough for me because I don't quite believe in Furiosa.
I actually do.
Oh, hold on.
I think it's like the one nomination it could
hold on. No, that's sound. People debated the visual effects. People debated how much they liked them and how noticeable they were. And it's a sequel, and most people don't think it was better than the first in terms of the visual effects. And a movie like this can easily fall off.
Well, there's just more visual effects this time around, and they weren't as seamless.
But
it still had a fuck ton of visual effects, and it was impressive. Mad Max is an impressive film, and they like when they use practical shit, and it is a good example of that. I think it fits as number 5. I think Furiosa, I mean, if it doesn't stay in for visual effects or sound, it gets like nothing. It's like crazy.
It's not that crazy that could happen, though. My biggest problem is that I don't think there's a better challenger. So I think I'm going to have to keep it in because...
That too.
Some people think Twisters, that would essentially gaslight me. Because I really just didn't think there was anything special to the visual effects in that movie. There's big weather effects, but it didn't impress me that much. The first got nominated. That was a totally different game. It was a totally different game back then. I don't think any of this is that impressive now.
Yeah, I don't think Twisters is doing anything that's very memorable.
But I could be gaslit. That's the thing. It's like I could be like, wow, I did not think that would happen, and somehow it did.
For Marvel movies, the only one we really have here to consider is Deadpool v Wolverine. I'm not convinced that would happen.
I haven't seen.
But I haven't seen it. So
yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Like, what's special about it? You know how the Guardians films always get VFX because they have like the fucking
raccoon? I don't know what's special about it. It seems like they just are using a lot of it because they can.
Like, is there any big character who's made of CGI?
No.
Meh on that. Here, probably more ridiculed than nominated.
Yeah,
for its use of AI de-aging.
It's also not really as much of a post-production process, and visual effects, some would say by definition, is post-production. It might be reconfiguring their perception of what visual effects are a little bit too much. They might not like it, and AI is a little controversial.
You know, one thing I'm surprised by is 16% of people, more people than who have Deadpool and Wolverine, think Alien Romulus.
That's just not fucking happening.
I don't think it's happening either.
I mean, the other Alien films,
maybe it's shortlisted.
Prometheus should have happened, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, like they're not nominating them; they're just not.
Maybe it would be shortlisted or something, and maybe it could get in off of that. But it seems like an uphill climb to me. Wicked, I don't think that's. I mean, they have like the monkeys.
Absolutely not happening.
They had a Planet of the Apes shot in the movie. It's straight out of the fucking Kingdom of the Planet.
Does not look very good.
You know, you got Godzilla x Kong. Godzilla movie. Has surprise before.
That's not happening.
You have A Quiet Place Day 1. You have You have Joker.
For what?
I don't think you have much.
You absolutely don't have anything, actually. So I don't even know what to put on this freaking list. I'll have to put Furiosa in. Now, what we
are there
really
any
need to
movies
consider,
like, you know how Killers of the Flower Moon is like on the short list?
Killers of the Flower Moon was never going to get.
What
visual
about
effects.
like Blitz?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, unless like Blitz somehow has visual effects, then I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. Sound, Dune will probably win this. I mean, that shit friggin' rattled the theater. Gladiator 2 will get nominated. Blitz, I think, will have a nomination here. I think last year actually bodes well for a Furiosa nomination. The fact that The Creator and Mission Impossible got in. Now they're doing bake-offs in the sound category. And maybe it's playing out this way because you're not just getting a lineup that's full of Best Picture movies. Like, The Creator and Mission Impossible were very much outside of Best Picture. And so maybe that bodes well for a Furiosa. If there's one thing that movie has.
Yeah. I think the sound's still. I think Furiosa's still in the game for sound. I have to see the other ones first because Furiosa's definitely on its back foot.
Gladiator's in. You really have 3 music-based films, but Amelia Perez is a musical.
It also has guns and it has a car chase.
How could a musical in Best Picture not be nominated for sound? That's my main question.
It's an unconventional musical.
That's fine.
It's a little out there.
I think it kind of has to get it. I mean, La La Land got 2 sound nominations, and that was like, I don't know. Maestro had music in it, and it got nominated. This is also going to be true about A Complete Unknown, which has music in it. Not only does A Complete Unknown have music in it, the subject of the film is Bob Dylan taking the folk sound and plugging it into amps and pissing off folk purists. Walk the Line got a sound nomination. Maestro got a sound nomination. Inside Llewyn Davis got a sound nomination, which is, the same era, the same type of music. Does A Complete Unknown even have to do a lot? In addition, it is being done by a sound team that has won Oscars and been nominated several times, okay? And James Mangold's films, he's had 3 films that have gotten sound nominations. So, honestly, even if I think that's not getting Best Picture, it's very compelling for a sound nomination. And this is where you could say, okay, what if it's A Complete Unknown and Amelia Perez and not even Furiosa?
I mean, also, I think Conclave is a force to be reckoned with, perhaps.
Yeah, I did hear that the sound design was very good in Conclave.
Yeah.
I heard that. I don't know what to do with that information because at this point that's just a lot of films.
There is an explosion in the trailer. This is a really tough category.
This is why Furiosa could just not get it and it would be weird.
The other film that I'm considering, we just go through all of them. The Brutalist.
Why?
It's a well-crafted movie.
That's not happening.
There Will Be Blood.
No, There Will Be Blood was exceptional.
Joker, Folia Duh. That's
Joker's a musical, and also Joker 1 got 2 sound nominations.
Civil War, I think, is a maybe.
It'll be pushed out. Twisters also will not happen.
No, the sound in Twisters wasn't even good. I kind of dunked on it because it's all score. They didn't care about using sound. The End is a musical, therefore it has it could be a sound player, but probably not. I think we're really between Amelia Perez, Joker, Conclave, Furiosa. And they're all fighting for a slot because you seem to have argued yourself into putting A Complete Unknown in. I just feel like Furiosa is kind of a losing horse. I know it stands out there, but it's kind of like when The French Dispatch got snubbed for production design. Yeah, I don't love A Complete Unknown here. If it's not in picture, it feels a little strange. You don't even know if it's doing good sound work.
You don't care that the Complete Unknown sound guy did Bohemian Rhapsody, The Martian, 3:10 to Yuma, Walk the Line, and has been nominated about 10 times. Do you care about that?
I care about that.
Best score? I think Hans Zimmer's not going to win again. Could Volker Bertelmann win again? Because Conclave might have a great score.
Now, Sing Sing, I still think that's strong in score.
Really? Are you sure?
I really think it was a great score, and it stands out in the film, and it was probably great to listen to on its own, and Bryce Dessner is someone who people know.
I think you have to have Amelia Perez, man, right?
I think so,
Don't you think so? Just because it's a musical, it's an originally composed musical. Don't you have to have that in?
This one is, creeping up on me, where, can I deny that Amelia Perez would get score? If it's a musical and the score is original?
But some people said that the music's not as memorable as other musicals they've seen.
It's not.
And how much of the film has score and no
There
songs?
is some score. I actually really like the score in certain parts of the film where there's no music yet, or maybe the music is just starting to, pop up on the horizon.
Remember how Encanto got score as well?
Yeah.
Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think Amelia Perez is actually it's solid prediction for right now. And then Saturday Night, I gotta take that seriously too, because John Batiste, who everyone seems to love to shower in awards, we got nominated for song last year.
Seems to be a branch fave.
Yeah.
An industry fave.
He's doing a percussive score for Saturday Night that seems like it'll be memorable.
And it sounds great in the trailer. If Saturday Night's in picture, this is just one of the nominations that it can get.
Wait, Brutalist, I'm watching out for that in score because we don't know how much score is going to be in it, but I have a feeling like it might be very prominent and very good and very undeniable, but I can't put it in yet.
This is true because I did listen to a little bit of the score for The World to Come because that's the composer, and it was good.
Yeah, no, the score for The World to Come is really good. And it's probably going to be a little on the weird side, but that's good. I think it's good.
But The Room Next Door is very hard to deny as well.
Ah, yes.
Because why would that not get nominated when Parallel Mothers did?
Score is great in the teaser.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really excited for the score. I think it could definitely get nominated. It could get nominated at the last second.
They love Alberto Iglesias. They've nominated him 4 times now.
He got nominated very unexpectedly for Parallel Mothers. And so he's going to be higher up for this movie than...
Can I ask you something? What is stopping me from moving that in over Sing Sing?
I think your guess is as good as anyone's for that. I think if you want to make that guess, you can go ahead.
Because I did come out of Sing Sing thinking, well, that definitely could be nominated in score.
Yeah.
I mean, look... If that movie does win Best Picture, I would like to see it get a couple of those tech noms.
You could take Amelia Perez out and put in The Room Next Door.
I'm not taking Amelia Perez out because that's a musical in Best Picture. That's an original musical.
Yeah.
Blitz is Hans Zimmer. What do you think about that, bitch?
Hans Zimmer has done things that don't have that much score before.
That's correct.
Like he did Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, what about Queer?
It will probably have a great score, and if the movie's weird, it won't come along.
If it's in Best Picture, it probably will come along. But if it's not in Best Picture, it probably won't.
Nickel Boys, that might have a really good score, actually.
I think
especially
it'll be a little
because
soft.
It's going to be like montagey, but I think it's going to be ambient and kind of soft.
I think it might be a little too ambient.
Maria will probably have a great fucking score.
Wrong.
What?
Maria doesn't have a score.
What do you mean?
They're only using real music.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what I heard. Challengers. You can't dismiss that. That was like the biggest score of the year, pretty much. Joker 2. I think it's going to be too much soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's going to be the main problem.
It's a jukebox musical. I don't think it's like the first one in that sense.
Gladiator 2 is a possibility. Finally, original song. Actually, here's a category you could put Sing Sing in. I think Amelia Perez could win the category with the song that's in the trailer. Or the Selena Gomez song.
Well, what's happening with the Diane Warren song?
The Diane Warren doc, I think it's coming out this year. I heard that the song is Kesha. She wrote a song for her own doc. But Diane Warren has another song coming out this year that I think may have a better shot. It is called The Journey, and it's from 6888, which is Tyler Perry's like Oscar bait film that's coming to Netflix about the first and only all-black women's Army Corps unit. Just the definition of like the original song credits thing. And guess who is singing this one? It's her who won the Oscar for Judas and the Black Messiah. So yeah, Diane Warren's getting nominated this year.
Well, what's she getting nominated for?
I'm going to go ahead and predict the 6888 song.
Over Relentless?
Yeah, I don't think that movie has as much publicity. Netflix is backing the other one.
What do you think about Sing Sing?
It is called Like a Bird, and it is about being free like a bird because people in prison aren't free, and it's nice to be free. It's so, like, oh my god. But, you know, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that shit does get in.
How many songs do you think Amelia Perez will get nominated for? It's at least one. It's at least the one in the trailer. The one in the trailer actually feels like it would win. Because it kind of summarizes the theme of the movie.
You agree that Pharrell Williams' Piece by Piece is happening?
I do. And what about Joker? I think that's number 5, maybe.
Yeah, I think that there's a confirmed that there is a Harley and Joker waltz going on. Unless the Joaquin Phoenix thing really ruins even this. I think Lady Gaga may have a songwriting credit, and that will help as well.
I'm also looking out for the end. Definitely going to be a bunch of original songs in the end. You know, it could be easily that one of them singled out.
You also have Moana 2. Moana 2 actually is a pretty good, is a fair. That might happen. I don't know if something will happen with Wicked. There will definitely be original songs from Mufasa. And, you know, sorry to disappoint all the fans out there, but I saw the TV Glow is not getting a nomination here. It's not going to be a Caroline Polachek or Phoebe Bridgers nomination. All right, I think I'm set on that. That's fine with me for now. We have predicted the Tech Awards. We have predicted all the Oscars for August. We did it. This is the first month of the year that we did all the categories. We're going to have to do it all over again after the fests.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you liked this video, consider signing up for membership so you can get even more content. You just can't get enough content, can you? $2 a month, and we're making it worth your while. Trust me. It's a hot deal for the amount of videos that we're putting out. My next goal is if we can get 500 people joining. That would be very solid for the channel. It would just help the channel a lot. It would make me want to make content even more. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Is it insane to think Amelia Perez could get double digits?